Hello, this is Sarah Soiledplant and welcome back to my channel. Today is my official moving vlog. I wanted to talk about the method I used for moving my plants from my apartment into my new house. I do feel like on the scale of difficult moves to easy moves, I'm definitely more on the easy move side of things. My apartment was a first floor apartment. I was moving into a house that was only 5 minutes away. I had the help of my dad in moving all of these plants. I didn't have to pack my plants in order to move long distance or keep them contained for a long period of time. They really only moved for about 10 minutes to maybe half an hour if they were one of the first plants put in the car and one of the last ones taken out. I wanted to show what a move looked like that was, in the same city basically, where the distance you're traveling isn't super long, so you can make multiple trips and sort of pack as easily as possible. A little bit of information about the day I moved. It was not raining outside, which I'm sure the plants would have loved, but it would have been harder for us humans. It was about 75 degrees Fahrenheit and about 45% humidity out. You pretty much couldn't have asked for a better day to move, and I was very grateful for that, of course. One of the strategies I used was making sure I did not water any of my plants for 3 to 4 days prior to moving. I wanted to make sure the plants weren't dripping all over the car, as well as not being too unnecessarily heavy to where if I tried to carry it in a box, it would bend the box, things like that. I wanted to keep the plants as light as possible. My main strategy for filling up the car was to utilize the footwells for some of my bigger plants, like my Monstera deliciosa and my ZZ plant. I wanted to have the plants that were a little bit taller and in bigger pots kind of just wedged in the footwells. I picked a route there and back that was very smooth, wasn't going to have a ton of traffic on it, so that we could drive as sort of daintily as possible, nice easy braking. And so that was also kind of key in making sure my plants didn't have any sort of catastrophic crashes and things and tipping over if I could help it. One thing I tried to utilize as much as possible were shallow boxes without lids. So I get these when I order from Chewy. I think a lot of plant stores where you go and buy plants, they also have things like this to help you carry multiple plants home with you. So I just kept a lot of containers like this that are perfect for sort of the 4-inch pots and smaller type of plants, and sort of pack it in as much as possible. I just wanted to make sure they didn't tip over. They didn't need to be like so secure that they can't move in case of like a car crash. I just wanted to make sure that in the event of an unintended quick stop, it would basically just prevent it from tipping over. Any sort of baskets, things like that would also help a lot. Anything to prevent it from tipping over is super, super helpful. From there, we just kind of Tetris the boxes into the back of the car. We use my dad's car, which is a Toyota Prius. It's basically a big hatchback. I didn't show my face much during the vlogging process because, let's be honest, no one looks and feels their best on moving day, and I am no exception to that. So I, for full self-preservation and vanity, I just decided not to grace my presence in the actual vlog footage, but I showed you kind of step by step and every car load sort of what it looked like when I brought everything over to the house. So I will show that footage to you now. I am officially in the moving process. Been packing everything up, and move day is tomorrow, so everything is a mess. But now is the time. I got keys to the new place and everything's been cleaned over at the new place, so now it is time to take the plants over, and we are in the beginning stages. So the game plan is to take plants and kind of put them into boxes so that they don't shift around in the car. Luckily, I've only got a 5-minute car ride between this place and the new house, so I don't need them to be packed expertly or anything. I just need them not to move around in the car. But we are going to play a game of Tetris, opposite Jenga, whatever you want to refer to it as, but I'm going to try and get as many plants in there as possible. So I've got the first corner done here. Yeah, what's going on? I'm trying to pack them as tightly into boxes as possible, just enough room so that they don't tip over. Of course, right here in front, I've got a nice pack of stuff here. And then in the footwell, I've got all of my big ZZ plant and my big snake plant so far. Okay, so we have trip 1 all ready to go. On the floor here, we've got the ZZ plant in the back. That's nice and big. And then I've got my little Ficus Tanicki and my Cebu Blue wedged real tight in there so they can't knock over. And then these ones, this has a nice flat base, and it's also leaning because of how the seat is. So they're leaning kind of this way. With this first trip, I'm trying to focus on all, I'm blocking the view here. So with the first trip, I want to make sure, A, that I have my humidifier ready to go, but also that I'm using mostly common plants so that if something goes terribly wrong, this is my experimental group. So hopefully, if everything goes well, I know that I can do this with my more expensive plants and everything will be fine. Trip 1, probably got about 30 some odd plants in there, and we'll do the first trip. All right, so we're at the house, and this is the new plant room. This is basically a spare bedroom, and it's the only room that has good lighting. So that is a south-facing window, and that is a west-facing window. And I'll have to trim that bush to make sure there's more light in here. But it's the smallest bedroom, but honestly, that's all I really need. You know, very little basic, like 10 by 10 room. And the plan is basically to just put all the plants on the floor and put the humidifier in here. The light isn't great, but it is temporary until I find a permanent home for all the plants. All right, so first load that I brought in, and I'm making sure I take the boxes out so I can reuse them for the next trip. Trip 1 is done. Even managed to get one hung up, but this is 1 car load. I've got the humidifier set up, and as a follow-up on my last video, I do have them propped up on some wood, so that'll help just in case it leaks. And the tank is not super high. So, all right, let's go get the next load of plants. All right, here's load number 2. I've got some of the more exotic things in here. I've got most of my calatheas, I think almost all of the calatheas. And then I've got a couple boxes of some of my sort of little things. My alocasias are in here. So we've got a few things in the footwell, but yeah, this is load number 2. This is after trip number 2. Part of me is a little concerned if they're all going to fit in here, but I have my white fusion that is looking a little rough around the edges, but I'm trying to put all of the calathea and stuff over here because it looks like there's a little less sun over here, but it looks like there's more sun coming in this side. So I'm putting my Hoya, my string of hearts, things like that over here. And then of course my big old monstera in the corner. And time for trip number 3. I'm hoping this last trip is the last trip we need, but I've still got that big old bird of paradise to deal with, so we will see. Okay, so bird of paradise. This is our makeshift solution. That is the pot, and we just kind of wrapped it in paper and then taped it together like so. It is so huge. I don't know what it's going to be like getting it in the car, but I'm going to sort of block the soil with newspaper, stuff like that, and then tape it down so the soil doesn't come out. And we are going to load it in sideways into the car because we have a hatchback and we're gonna see if it fits. We're gonna do our best here. Step 1, fill it with newspaper. It's all crumpled up. I've put it in between all the stalks, and then I'm gonna take tape and tape it all down. All right, now it's taped. I put one in between everything, so should be nice and contained. Now we're gonna try and get it into the car. All right, so for a little bit of scale here, here's the plant, here's the back of the car. And the plan is we are going to angle it right there and see if it fits. I'm hoping we can get the plant all the way in there without having to take this out. There's a car seat here, so we can't take that seat down. So let's see if it works. It actually worked out pretty well. So pot is in, goes to the front, and then if we go around here, you can see that it goes in, and then it made it in. See? It's perfect. Easy peasy. And then if you look on this side, all the soil is contained. Let's go. There's the bird of paradise. I'm gonna leave it in my living room just because of space. with my helpful assistant here. Ooh, careful. All right. It survived the journey. This leaf was bent the last time I moved, and it's still attached, because why not? I'm not that precious about it, but yeah, it made the trip. I'll probably leave that just until the moving's done, just in case somebody knocks it over. I'll put it somewhere in here. This is a south-facing window, so it might be in this corner over here or just next to the window, but yeah, that is the bird of paradise, and it's gonna live somewhere in this living room. All right, so this is every single plant that I own, all in one room, except for the bird of paradise. But this is literally every other plant I own. Let's do a quick skim of everything. Make sure you can see them all. It is going to be an impressive feat to kind of walk through all of these and move stuff around. It's going to test my agility, but it's very awesome. I was a little doubtful it would all fit, but it all fits. And these three are my biggest bug problems, so they're mildly secluded from the rest of the group. And then I'm going to have my fan in here to get some air circulation going, but that is it. That is a lot of plants. Once all of the plants were in that one room, I basically finished the moving process. The actual move, where I hired movers to move my boxes and my furniture, happened the very next day. All of that, once that was done, I went in and checked on the plants. It turns out that a couple of my plants still had very, very bad cases of spider mites. So I've been treating all of my plants that happened in the move, every single one of them, I'm treating with my Captain Jacks and trying to clean the bad ones with my alcohol solution. It's gonna be a big mess, and I have a feeling I'm gonna be battling spider mites all summer, but that's just something that's gonna happen when you move and you put all of your plants together in a small place. It's inevitable, and in my case, I am 99% sure all of my plants will have spider mites. I plan on just spraying everything down with Captain Jacks, every couple of days for the foreseeable future, and hope that they don't come back, and just keep an eye on everything as much as I can. But doing my full treatment process for every single one of my plants is going to be impossible for my sanity, if not physically. I just can't do that for every single one of my plants and guarantee that it's still not going to cross-contaminate. So I will do my best to mitigate it as much as possible and hope and pray that most of my plants are okay. I will definitely be doing videos talking about, designing with my plants and integrating them into my new house. This is sort of the first shelf I did, and I pretty much assembled it just for this video. That is how far behind I am on unpacking and settling in. I got my kitchen pretty much done, and that was the first thing I wanted done, but everything else is going to be tedious and take a very long time. I'm sure you're wondering how the kitties are doing. They handled the move great. They're nervous probably for the first 6 hours, and then after that, it's like they've lived here their entire life. I tried to figure it out when my parents were here, but I think both cats have moved upwards of 5 times apiece, so they're seasoned experts at this point, and they are just used to the whole process. They don't like it, they are not happy with it, but they tolerate it okay. And they're doing great, and they're settling in wonderfully. But I think that does it for this video. I had 0 casualties so far as plants go. Now that spider mites is running rampant, who knows what's gonna happen in the next couple of weeks. I might lose a plant or two just because of the spider mites. But as far as the actual move, nothing got broken, nothing fell off. I didn't even lose any leaves. So honestly, I'm very happy with the whole process. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. That does it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I will catch you next time. Bye.